is a member of the MiceChat podcast network. MicePod.com. The podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
And getting more samey by the minute. Content and isn't intended for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other body. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty, get on with the show. If in doubt, just make up words.
I swear at some point we'll get someone to record the lyrics properly.
We'll have to write them first.
Sounds like a pub singer to me.
An actual proper version of our own. And on cue, exactly when we ask them to, the audience applaud. Anyone would think that was pre-recorded. Happens at the same time every time. Thank you. Calm down, you lot. Calm down. Hello, welcome to another episode of Disafterdark, and hopefully we're kind of back to normal. I'm Paul.
I'm Nick, and please remember this is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, completely.
And I'm Paul D.
And I'm Craig.
And joining us in the mouse's head today, welcome to our humble bar, Andy DiGenova. DiGenova.
DiGenova.
Yeah, you've already made the football reference, so we'll go get you a Disafterdark five-a-side football team shirt with your name on the back.
Oh.
Hello.
There we go.
Oh, she's back.
Just on cue. Right on cue. Perfect. Welcome aboard, Andy.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thanks for the invite. I feel like I have a lot to live up to after last episode. That was something else. I've got bad news. I don't have any erotic fiction about riding the E.T. adventure at Universal Studios for you today. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I didn't write any. I'm saying I'm not going to read any.
That just the mere thought of that would be impressive.
Let your imaginations go wild.
While cycling.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Oh, gentlemen. The usual bump and beer intro. What are we drinking?
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, go on.
So I went to my local beer shop, which is in my local garden centre, strangely enough.
That is strange.
Yeah, and the Disney
drinking
connection.
daffodils.
It's obviously a British thing. It must be a southern British thing. I got a garden centre. I need beer.
Yeah, need a beer shop. But they've got all sorts of unusual beers. Anyway, I found one that the Disney connection is actually the connection to our last episode.
Uh-oh.
It's called Lover's Rock. Cheers.
I like that.
Bottle of Lover's Rock.
Oh, good start.
Yeah. A bottle of 4 stiffies.
Oh, dear. Oh, Mr. Craig, you've been out all day, haven't you?
I've been drinking San Miguel. The Disney connection is non-existent, but
Can you get it in Mexico?
Probably. You can get it in Sainsbury's, so I reckon you'd be all right. So I'm drinking Yorkshire tea and tap water.
Okay. A gentle come down. Nick, don't let the side down.
Oh no, I will be. I am drinking something called Mango Ultra, which is a
Avengers 3: The Age of Magnum Ultra.
It is a relentless stimulation drink. It's 0 calorie and yet still contains 10 calories, so go and figure that one out. It's an energy drink, and the reason why is because after this show is said and done, this is my Christmas day. It is WrestleMania Sunday, and I'm up till 4 o'clock in the morning watching it. So cheers, everyone. This better keep me awake.
Oh.
The last time I watched WrestleMania, the Ultimate Warrior reigned supreme.
Yeah, well, last WrestleMania, the Ultimate Warrior died, so that's not great news for him.
Oh, that's an RA, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last WrestleMania I saw, I still had hair like the Ultimate Warrior.
Well, seeing the pictures from you the other week in Vegas, you still had the Ultimate Warrior's hair.
It's in a box under my bed.
And if anyone wants to see that picture of Paul Boniface as the Ultimate Warrior, I'm sure they could find it on our website, which is www.disafterdark.com.
I don't know. Did I post it there?
Well, no, but we will do.
Right.
And if not, you can, of course, contact us by email and have it asked for it privately at podcast@disafterdark.com.
And before anyone else joins in, can I just say, you can tell that you're keen to get to WrestleMania now and get out of the pub, because I'm still drinking Theakston's Old Peculiar. Andy, have you got a beverage?
I do. I made a special trip to get something for this show. I went and got Strongbow cider.
Ooh.
Because it felt British, and I don't know if that's accurate, but it feels that way.
Yeah,
It's as accurate as you're going to get.
Okay, good.
You'll be fighting later.
Great. And the Disney connection is obviously that they sell it at the UK Pavilion at Epcot. Every time I'm at World Showcase, I have to get a Strongbow in the UK.
They still, do they do bottled cider as well? Because
they do both. Outside, it's bottled, and inside, it's on tap.
Because it's kind of, I don't know, is it the last 2 or 3 years that putting ice in your cider has become a thing?
Oh.
Yeah, it has, yeah. I think that's just a UK thing, though.
A nice bottle of Magners and ice. I come from Somerset way.
I have an asthma attack when I drink that.
You don't put ice in cider. You actually have to take the rat out of it to drink it properly.
To be honest, I put other stuff in cider.
And back to last week.
It was too easy. The goal was open. I had to nod it in.
It's set up, yeah.
Reference number 2. So what's really odd? I've never understood this side of things. Just to stick on it for a little bit, because if you buy it in a bar, yeah, where's it kept?
In the fridge.
In the fridge, where it's bloody cold, where all the other cold beers are. But when I ask for a bottle of Peroni or something, they don't give it to me with a glass of ice. So why does the cider get a glass of ice?
Perhaps they've just decided that actually cider tastes really rank and it needs to be drunk really cold.
Yeah,
which could be the case if it is proper scrumpy.
Just drink it with some lager and have a snake bite.
Don't tell me you're not going to put like a dash of blackcurrant in it as well, are you?
No. Snake bite. It's half lager, half cider.
And blackcurrant.
Snake bite blackcurrant.
Only if you're wearing knickers.
That's the snake bite. That's the bite from the snake. Is the blackcurrant the blood?
Oh, we don't have that up here. We just have blood.
Blackcurrant will make its way up to you soon, Craig. Don't worry about it.
Eventually, yeah. Okay, so how could people contact the show then, Nick?
I think he's
Mr. Eager Beaver.
Yeah.
And we won't get any rambling vinyl nation stories tonight, will we?
Well, you say that, but no, I'm joking. So www.disafterdark.com, podcast at disafterdark.com.
Or Twitter at Disafterdark, Facebook.com/Disafterdark, MiceChat.com.
Instagram, Pinterest, etc.
So
if anyone is listening to this on like 2 times speed.
Oh yeah.
There's blood coming out their ears now.
Yeah, we're supposed to be watching. We're supposed to be watching for people on 2 times speed.
Oh, if we did an entire show like that, it would really wind them up. They'd think their iPads weren't working from to speak
like that, actually.
Yeah.
Like in real life, they speak in 4 times slower than normal people speak.
Yeah. I'll do some scouse. Dee do 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 dee do.
Anyway, Andy, do you have a source of information about yourself?
Yeah, a source? Oh, I guess so. Like where you can find me?
If people should want to, or even better, if you should want people to actually find you.
No, they can find me. I host 2 podcasts of my own, so maybe that's the best way to go. The first one is the Real Fans for Real Movies podcast, all about movies, and you can find that on Twitter, RF4RM. That's RF the number 4RM, or on Facebook, or you can go to the website, rf4rm.com, and you guys have been very supportive of retweeting our stuff, so big thanks for that. And then the other podcast is all about Batman, and that is Holy Batcast. And same thing, Holy Batcast on Twitter, and then you can find both of them where all podcasts are sold for free.
We've already been told off once for only ever having other podcasters on. But hey,
oh, really?
Yeah, but I think...
Well, then you can ignore that.
Yeah,
Then I'm just an unassuming citizen who wanders the streets of Los Angeles and does nothing else.
I think it's just the fact that we can't get any other guests on who actually have a microphone.
I think in Andy's defence, I think actually Andy's okay. He's kind of exempt from this rule because what he's not running is a Disney podcast that's like ours, but with gels or something.
That is true. That is true.
I believe because I know it surprises the listeners to hear this, but sometimes we actually discuss what we're going to do before the show goes out. Not all the time, but I believe that Mr. Craig and Mr. Andy actually have something movie related to tie in the two podcasts to lead with tonight.
They have, and we don't often do some news, but I just want to interrupt a bit of frivolity.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah.
And jollity with a little bit of news.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna do this bit.
A view of the news with Disafterdark.
I think we may be one of only a very few Disney podcasts to actually have this bit of news on, and it kind of only broke today. I would just like to send our well, not condolences because he's still alive, but our get well soon, our best wishes to a gentleman by the name of Paul Kelly, who you probably are unaware of, but he is the head of security for Disney in Europe, Middle East and Africa, who was drugged and mugged in South Africa over the weekend. A mystery woman moved in on when he was in a bar and drugged him, and he lost consciousness and woke up in his hotel room with life-changing injuries. So whether you want to make a joke out of that or not, which is a bit sad.
Hashtag too soon.
Yes, I think so. There are, you can only imagine what would happen to someone who's drugged and beaten with a honey trap in South Africa. So I hope you get through it and get all right and get back to the job soon.
Wow, that's horrendous.
Yeah,
It's not going to be on Inside the Magic, is it?
I doubt that at all. 59-year-old, and it is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So yeah, it's not covering the American parts, but yeah, head of security.
Yeah.
Head of security fell for a honey trap.
Wow.
His credit cards have since been fraudulently used, and the police are hunting her. So yeah, there you
Yikes.
go. That is my news. It's not happy news, but wow.
That is
news, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Put sugar on that Lumongello.
Yeah. How'd you do that one? Get well. Okay. Anyone else got any more happier news?
I wouldn't say happier news, but on trying to promote
animation beast.
No.
Okay.
This is actually to do with last show. Actually, I told you no Vinyl news. In Vinyl news, no. Trying to promote our last show, bearing in mind that it was a little bit racy and a little bit adult. In trying to plug it on a Facebook group.
What did you get thrown out of now?
I didn't get thrown out, but I did cause a bit of an international incident.
There was no pictures of your genitals, was there?
No, there wasn't this time. But and the reason it stemmed from it was not because I promoted the podcast, it was because I promoted the podcast by saying, you may have heard this before, this episode's a little bit racy though, so just to warn you. And because I put that warning in, it completely went off road. And lots of things were said and lots of fights were had. And
linking to adult material is not allowed. It's like,
pretty much. And I was like, I didn't think it was. Anyway, there were some people that had my back, and you know who you are, and thank you. And there were some people that didn't, and I don't hate you, but it did get a little bit silly and out of hand. So I kind of apologise, but at the same time, we're adults. But I'm still there, so every cloud. Unfortunately, the link isn't, so never mind.
You're still there until this particular episode comes out.
There's no adult content yet, so I should be okay.
Sweet. That must be it. Other than the fact that there's like various MicePod things about Disneyland Paris's version of the Tower of Terror falling to pieces.
Yeah, I had no idea about that. I saw the photos. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. It is in an appalling state.
Yeah, but now this is my thing with it, right? Surely the Tower of Terror is supposed to look like it's crumbling away. So honestly, I've probably seen it in real life and thought,
look at the Imagineering that's gone in on that. They're making it look like it's crumbling away. Yeah, you're right. It's not meant to look like a 5-star grand hotel, is it?
Exactly. So I think maybe a little bit, I actually went interested saw the other day that it was supposed to be themed, like one of the ideas was it was supposed to be themed around Stephen King.
Right. Okay.
And before that, the original idea for it, if anyone knew, was, I don't know if you've said it before, was Mel Brooks.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was going to be like
yeah.
a tongue-in-cheek comedy
Young
style.
Frankenstein.
That kind of humour, yeah. And it's going to be themed to that, yeah.
That's two different sides of the scales of justice, isn't it?
And then they went down the middle of the Twilight Zone.
Excellent.
There you go.
Oh, well, unless anyone else got any more news, should we get on to the actual important thing of why we're actually here? Go on, Craig.
Yeah.
Go on, Craig.
Yes, Final Mations. Oh.
Final Mations are making a comeback.
No,
they're
don't
not.
worry about it.
Well, yesterday I took my girls to watch Cinderella, so we're going to try and talk about that a little bit. I know Andy's been to see it a couple of weeks ago, haven't you, Andy?
Yep. I went opening weekend. Got to support Cinderella.
Now, I absolutely loved it. What did you think about it?
Well, I got to tell you, I was not particularly excited to see it because it just looked kind of like, well, it's Cinderella. Like there was no new twist to it, so I wasn't super excited, but I went because my girlfriend wanted to see it and, support Disney, all that good stuff. But I actually really enjoyed it. It was much better than I expected, and I thought it was a really good, beautiful movie.
Yeah, it was definitely beautiful.
I have yet to see it, but of all the live-action Cinderellas that there have ever been, from like the early 80s Slipper and the Rose to, what was that, Sleeping Beauty? I can't remember.
Cinderella Triple X?
What, with Vin Diesel?
Yes.
No, I'd watch that.
He was an amazing Cinderella.
or what was the other, Ever After with Drew Barrymore and Dougray Scott?
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
About that. Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how it compares against, every other retelling of the same story. Just like a reboot.
Well, I've seen in the trailers, and I mean, you guys will be able to fill in the gaps here because we haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
the trailers certainly alluded to the fact that there were comparisons between, bits from the animated film that we know and love and the Kenneth Branagh version.
I'd say it basically follows the cartoon from start to finish. They didn't deviate from anything. There was nothing to make it angry like in the last real film.
So it is actually the story of Cinderella and not like a almost prequel stroke Maleficent type thing.
Yeah, no, it's not like Maleficent in it. I mean, I loved Maleficent, don't get me wrong, but
No, you are wrong.
It just recreates the film, basically. It just tells the same story.
It's a girl who has some ugly sisters that can't go to a ball.
And the ugly sisters weren't that ugly. They were
just not as pretty as
10.
Cinderella. Yeah. That's fair. 6.
I mean, the thing is, it is good to hear that because, to be honest, after Maleficent, we all know how I feel about that, and Frozen, you did think, could the ending of Cinderella be she doesn't fall in love with Prince Charming, but she actually decides her ugly sisters aren't that ugly anymore, and actually she'd rather them not be stepsisters and be real sisters, and they all kind of bond.
I did want her to glass them because they were horrible to her.
Oh, that would be an awesome use of the glass slipper.
Yeah,
a real
cut the throats out.
Yeah, the scouse has come out now.
I was going to say, to American listeners, Craig is from Liverpool, and there are certain stereotypes which you don't like to play up to, but Craig's doing a good job, so...
Well, it's Game of Thrones. It's a Game of Thrones link because the prince is from the Game of Thrones, and they all kill each other in that. And the ugly sisters were nasty. They were horrible pieces of muck.
The prince is in GOT, is he?
Oh, yeah. Richard Madden, yeah.
Oh, he's that one, is he? Oh, right.
Yeah. And his smile just melted my heart, to be fair.
Is he in Game of Thrones? Is that?
Yeah, he's Robb Stark.
Robb Stark, yeah.
Right.
He's Robb Stark. Although the guy that plays Jon Snow is in the new Spooks movie, which I'm still waiting for. But we're here to not talk about spy movies. We'll do that when Spectre comes out.
Do you want me to talk about it the way that I only watched the first 4 episodes of Game of Thrones and got bored?
No, we'll come to that eventually when we do some
good.
sort of Disney-related Game of Thrones crossover episode.
Matter of time.
Yeah.
So Andy, I mean, Craig said that he liked it it's similar to how he liked Maleficent, like very visually stunning and everything like that. I know it's probably not good to compare both of those films, but how did you feel it compared to Maleficent?
Well, I'm on the side that loved Maleficent. I thought Maleficent was great. I am. But here's the thing.
Nicholas.
I understand the people who don't like it, because you have to be okay. Like, to like that movie, you've got to be okay with Maleficent being the hero. She's not the villain. She is the hero, and you've got to just accept that. Otherwise, you're not going to like the movie. And so I was okay with that, because I was like, well, sure, I'll just go along for the ride, and I ended up really enjoying it for that reason. Cinderella is very straightforward. It's a very straightforward retelling, and we talked about it. We reviewed it on my podcast, on the Real Fans for Real Movies podcast, and that was kind of my complaint about Cinderella. Is I'm like, well, because it's so straightforward, you know everything that's going to happen. There are no real twists and turns that you don't see coming. Whereas Maleficent, you're like, the way they kind of tweaked everything in Maleficent, you were like, oh, wow, that's a different take on why there's a dragon. And like, like they played with it. Whereas here it's like, no, Cinderella's father isn't around. The stepmother is wicked, makes her a slave. She gets a fairy godmother. She gets a dress. She goes to the ball. There's the shoe. Like, it's beat for beat exactly what you expect it to be. And for me, that was kind of a negative, where I'm like, like I wanted something a little fresher, but my girlfriend actually brought it up, and it was a good point, is all of these recent fairy tale retellings have been all about kind of doing a new take. So Maleficent was doing it from Maleficent's point of view. Oz the Great and Powerful was doing it from Oz. I didn't particularly like that movie.
Good man.
Alice in Wonderland was like a sequel to the so like there really hasn't been a faithful retelling of one of these fairy tales recently. So it was almost brave and fresh by not going that route. Like they didn't give the wicked stepmother some sort of tragic story where she's just misunderstood. No, she's still the wicked stepmother, and I think that's cool. So I think for people who do want a very faithful Cinderella, they're going to love this movie. Whereas Maleficent divided people, because not everybody was on board with making King Stefan a villain and Maleficent a superhero.
See, my main issue with Maleficent was not the fact. I was actually quite open to going in there and her being the hero of the piece. And I think the trailers kind of alluded to that in a way anyway, because you were seeing her version of events. I think my main problem with Maleficent was the fact, and I won't use the terms that I used when I wrote my review of it, but my main issue was the fact that, especially with the end monologue, so not like even like the final scene, but the actual voiceover, pretty much turned around and said that what we knew as the cartoon was a lie, and this was the real story.
No, I just think it was from a different point of view.
It was, yeah, but see, the problem is, if the voiceover was Maleficent saying, you've heard one side of the story, here's the real side of the story, that would be, well, you can take a word for it or not. But it was the fact that it was actually Aurora that turned around and said, what you heard before was a lie, this is the real story. That's why it annoyed me so much, because if it was Maleficent's version of events, I'm all for that, because you get her side and you get the Sleeping Beauty cartoon that and you can kind of decide which version's which, if there's elements of both. But by turning around and saying, this is the real version, what you knew before wasn't true, that, if you was looking at something like that as a canon, that meant that the cartoon, none of it was true. Everything you saw in Maleficent, that was the real story. And that was my main complaint with that. Also, just thought it was poor. So.
Yeah, taking Maleficent as it was, without going back and reviewing that movie completely, there was obviously connections between the live action and the animated film.
Yeah,
they tried to allude one to the other. Is this version of Cinderella actually connected to the animated story, or is it treated as a separate reboot? It's a Disney film. It's the same. It's a similar story with similar characters, the same names, but a different story, a fresh look. Or is there overlap?
There's a little bit of overlap there, but I would still say it's a separate version of the same story. I don't think it's supposed to match in continuity with the old one. It took a very strange, a fine line where it was like it's remaking the animated version, but not too much. So they had the mice, and they had little Gus, and they had Jacques, who became Jacqueline. So okay, they named the mice the same as in the animated version, and there was Lucifer the cat. So that was the same, but at the same time, they kind of developed the prince's relationship with his father, which was completely different than what was in the animated version. So
more of just a sort of a subtle nod to the original film.
Right. Okay. And so, like, there's a moment where Cinderella, and I don't know if this is spoilers if we care, but there's a moment where Cinderella is just singing to herself, and she sings Sweet Nightingale, which is the song from the original animated movie. And it's like, oh, that was kind of a nice little nod to the old one. But they don't do that with any of the other songs. They play some of them over the credits, but in the rest of the movie, they never sing Once Upon a Dream or So This Is Love or Bippity Boppity Boo. Yeah. They do it in the credits kind of as a fun thing, but never in the movie. So they were, like I said, they were straddling a very fine line as far as how much they wanted it to be exactly like the animated one and how much they wanted it to feel new.
Yeah, I think we can probably get away with spoilers for a Cinderella story.
That's how I feel.
200 years old now.
It's not like we're spoiling. It's not like we're spoiling. Carry on. It's all right. We're constantly talking over. Yeah, it's not like we're spoiling like Titanic by going it sinks at the end or anything.
Right.
What?
Right.
With the creatures in the film, so you said like there was Gus and Jack and Lucifer. Obviously in the film there's a bit of talking with those characters. Were they talking in this film, or because it was live action?
The mice did talk, but you could sort of get the gist of what they were saying. I'm not fluent in mouse, so
so they were talking in squeak.
Yeah, they just kind of
squeakish.
chat like
that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Like an Emperor's New Groove. Squeakity squeak squeak squeaker.
A very underrated film, I think.
It is. It's such a good movie.
Loved it.
Film there.
That's pretty good. I mean, Kenneth Branagh obviously directed the good Thor film. So you've seen the two Thor films. One of them was good and one of them was bad. Kenneth Branagh directed the good one. What else kind of stood out from the film? Was there any particular acting performances that did, or were there some that didn't kind of hit the mark?
I think the fairy godmother was fabulous.
I agree.
I think she absolutely nailed it.
So for those who don't know, it's Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter appeared in a film that wasn't Tim Burton's.
Which is allowed to now they're not together.
They broke up, yeah.
Didn't have Johnny Depp in it.
He might have been in there somewhere.
No, Johnny Depp played Lucifer, the cat.
Oh.
He was excellent. I agree. Helena Bonham Carter, she was awesome. And I think that like she really brought the film to life. Like everybody I think was good. I don't think there was anyone who was bad in it, but when she came in, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air where she was having so much fun and she just made everything around the film in that moment where you're like, oh, it just became so much more fun than it had been.
I'm just actually looking down the cast list because I haven't really followed it too much until my daughters see the first trailer on their telly and
we're not in
drag me into it. No, I mean Kate Blanchett. I was looking. Okay, fair enough, famous actress, yeah, and then Rob Brydon.
Does he do the voice in the box?
Master Phineas. I don't know who this Master Phineas character is, but Rob Brydon doing the just incredible, fantastic.
Yeah, he was the artist painting the prince, painting his picture. Yeah, it was like a little comedy cameo.
Excellent.
It's a bit like when Paul Whitehouse was in Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah,
he does the voice of the March Hare. You wouldn't recognise his voice in it. But it's very weird when you see someone that you're used to seeing on TV or not in a major Hollywood film have a part like that.
And Sir Derek Jacobi is the king.
Ooh.
Very nice, very nice. Ooh. Otherwise known as the voice of Eagle Piggle.
Really?
Yes.
I refuse to let my daughter watch that show, and my son's too young yet anyway. But that show creeps me out.
Yeah.
So obviously, Cinderella's the main attraction at the moment, but I think it would be very foolish of us to completely ignore the fact that, in a way, for Disney to not that it was going to flop anyway, but to ensure that Cinderella was going to be opening as a big hit, they've stuck a short at the beginning of the film.
Oh.
That is correct.
They did.
It's almost like a Toys R Us advert.
Jeffrey the Giraffe's in it.
It was fabulous. The girls absolutely loved it. What's it called? Frozen
Fever.
Yeah. It was brilliant. But everything in it, I would imagine you'll be able to buy very soon.
Well, it's funny you say that, actually, because you're pretty much spot on. So I have not seen Cinderella yet, and I will be seeing it soon because I've got tickets. I don't know if people are aware of this, but there's an exhibition in London's Leicester Square, or for some of our listeners, Leicester Square, which is an exhibition of the new film Cinderella with props and bits and pieces like that, but also has some bits from the animated film as well, some art and things like that. But I have seen Frozen Fever, and I have seen the merchandise, and Craig's pretty much spot on.
How have you seen it? Was it on at the beginning of another film then?
So I don't know if the FBI listens to this show or not.
Okay, should we rewind that and say you may have seen it, you may not have seen it? We can neither confirm nor deny that.
Put it this way: there's lot. If you want to see it now, it's very easy for you to go and watch it now if you've got a computer with the internet. That's it. That's all I can say. So I have seen a dub of this.
It was good to know one, wasn't it?
I wouldn't worry about it. The EMEA security guy isn't going to be coming down in any minute now.
Exactly. Hope you get better, Paul. So I went into Disney Stores today, actually, ironically enough, and you can buy an Olaf with the Snow Babies.
Oh, the Snow Babies.
Snow Babies or something. Well, you can't buy them separately, so that's great for everybody that already owns an Olaf colored toy, which is everyone that has a child that likes Frozen. So you have to buy another Olaf. There's also Olaf in Hawaiian gear, Anna and Elsa in their new dresses as well.
Genius, absolute genius. Yeah. Can you buy a cuckoo clock with the Olaf?
It's a matter of time, surely.
Because he's in it.
Yeah, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time.
Mr. D, as the only person here with grown-up children past that age where you may not own Frozen, do you own in your house any Frozen merchandise?
It's got some ice cubes.
Yeah. My both daughters have got Olafs, soft Olafs.
Excellent. I just had to make sure you were still there because it was sitting very quietly in the corner.
No, I'm here. I'm listening. I haven't seen Cinderella yet. We are going to go and see it either Wednesday or Friday this week. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
We should do. It's half term for us at the moment, so yeah, we should be able to do that.
Andy, what's the box office for Cinderella for the first weekend in America and stuff?
In America, it did 67 million, which is really, really strong.
That's good, that isn't it?
Against a budget of 95.
I think it was slightly less than Maleficent.
Yes, I think Maleficent was like 70 and this was 67. So I think, it was almost there, but just shy.
I'm surprised with the Frozen short being before it that it didn't actually do better. Like, a lot of people were expecting to go and buy tickets just to see the Frozen short.
Yeah.
Well, the people in the know, I guess, would have done, but a lot of people, just because they had younger children, may not be following the various Disney press to even know there is a Frozen short at the beginning of it.
Well, to be honest, I mean, the advert. I obviously haven't seen the American TV spots, but the TV spots in the UK, especially the ones being shown on Disney Channel at the moment, is pretty much a 20-second advert for the film and a 10-second advert for the Frozen short before it. So they are actually really pushing the fact there is a Frozen short before it as well.
Oh, I could so get cynical about it.
I've got to be honest though. I loved Frozen. I loved it until I saw it for the 597th time this week, thanks to my daughter. No, I still think it's a good film, but I've got to be honest, and pardon the pun, but Frozen Fever actually left me cold. I said I didn't mean to pun it on purpose, but
genius. He's a genius.
To me,
it works.
I just found it a little bit like it was hitting the same beats too hard. A bit like when you see a band try and do a greatest hits medley or something. They made a lot of references to the funny bits of the first film, and some good cameos and things like that of characters from the first film as well. But I felt it just tried a little bit too hard, and I think it's a shame they didn't try and kind of break out of that mould. And also, I don't think the song that they had for it was quite as strong as the songs they had for the film,
which I've had to buy for my daughters.
Again, it's another tie-in. It's all on iTunes.
Got it.
I mean, it's an okay song, but I think when I saw Frozen for the first time, the songs really kind of became earworms straight away. They had a very instant effect. I don't think this one captured it in quite the same way. But saying that, I thought the Snow Babies were adorable. So I'm not a total cynic about it, but I was just a little bit disappointed it didn't entertain me more. But I can understand completely why kids will go mad for it.
No, I don't blame you. It's been interesting because I've seen people pretty split over the Frozen Fever short. I thought it was adorable for what it was. It wasn't anything earth-shattering, but it was cute, and the little snow babies are adorable, and it was fun. Most people agree that the song isn't all that special. It's okay. But I know people who straight up hated it. And I think they're just kind of burnt out on Frozen. But I know people who are just like, Frozen Fever was so stupid. So it's interesting. I was curious to hear what you guys thought of it because I thought it was cute. But no, I totally get where you're coming from, where some of the gags are just they rely too much on referencing the film instead of doing new gags. That makes sense.
And the thing is as well, if you've got kids, so if any, a lot of people would have seen Frozen, even as adults may have seen it once or twice by now, but if you've got kids, you see it a lot. So those jokes, the punchlines, the characters very well, and to see something new do the same stuff was a bit boring. And I think the problem as well is that Disney and Pixar especially really know how to do shorts. Get a Horse, fantastic.
Right.
It's Paperman
was amazing.
But Get a Horse was probably the reason I ended up buying a 3D TV in the end, because I was like, you know what, that's something I can watch over and over again. But yeah, and I mean all the Pixar shorts, I don't recall a duff one, to be honest. So I think there was a very high bar there. But, Frozen 2 is obviously going to be happening, and...
I like the fact with Frozen 2 that they're hanging on and they're not reckoning it will be ready for release until 2018. It's not like they're actually rushing it to...
No, and to be honest, nor should they be. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that it's done so well, it doesn't matter how long they leave it in between. It's not like... Avatar, where really they should have rushed that into production quite soon after, because people now are bored. And I really don't think those films are going to hit the same highs as that first film did. Frozen is such a cultural thing now that it really doesn't matter that, you're going to wait 3 or 4 years. Yeah. And they've got they've got a busy slate. So it's, they've obviously got things, ready to go or in production.
Was it Moana or Mona?
Moana, Zootopia is another one. If anything, I think it would be nice to take a couple year break from Frozen.
Yeah,
and then come back to it because I think the break will do us good. I think at this point, we're good on Frozen for a bit. Let's wait a couple of years.
We'll live. Yeah. Just let me wear the DVD out first of all.
Right
now. This is a bit of movie news, I suppose we could talk about, because we just referenced Frozen 2, which had been heavily rumoured but has now been confirmed. Thank you very much.
Sorry, it's my dinner in the microwave.
But so that same week that Disney officially announced Frozen 2, and we couldn't talk about it on the last show because for some reason we all got distracted.
Just a little bit.
But the same week that Frozen 2 was announced, there was an extremely strong rumour, which has still not been confirmed, that filming in October this year in Toronto is finally Tron 3.
Mallrats 2. Oh.
No, Tron 3. But also Mallrats 2. But more importantly, Tron 3. Now, what amazes me is people have gone, there was a Tron 2? Because people just assumed Tron Legacy was like the first film. Or was like a reboot.
Right.
But obviously Tron Legacy was a sequel.
The same people who wondered what happened to the first Ocean's 10 films.
Yep.
I don't know. I'll leave it to you. I'm just going to sit at the end of a Skype waiting for a Real Fans for Real Movies podcast to concentrate on James Bond, and then I'll just answer those ones.
We'll get to Spectre in a second. But yeah, I mean, have you heard about that, Andy?
Yeah, it sounded like it was all but confirmed. Like the news started coming out, and I was very skeptical about it because it was coming from a really weird source, some newspaper in Canada, and I'm like, I just feel like we'd get it elsewhere. But then a day later, there was an official announcement through the Hollywood Reporter that the director of Tron Legacy is coming back to do a third. So that seemed to kind of solidify the rumor, but that was it. That was the last we heard. So there still hasn't been like an official press release of Tron 3 is going to be called this, and we're going to be filming this, and this is the release date. They haven't done that yet, but they've announced that the director's returning, so I think that's a good sign. Personally, I hope it's true. I loved Tron Legacy. I thought it was awesome, so I can't wait for a third one. I hope it's true, but I'm still kind of waiting for that big, real announcement before I get myself too excited.
Well, this is it. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Tron Legacy for all its sins. You know, I know it's not.
And that's the other
film,
reason to have a 3D TV right there is Tron Legacy. Like, you want to show off your 3D TV? That's the movie.
I like the fact that Tron Legacy was supposedly a sequel to Tron itself, but I'm just looking on IMDb, and it's got coming soon Untitled Tron Legacy sequel.
Yeah.
Surely it's a Tron sequel, third one.
I don't know what a threequel is. It a threequel? I'm not sure.
I have no idea. They didn't announce like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom as a.
That was a prequel. Yeah. So they couldn't have announced that as a sequel because it was actually ended up being a prequel. Yeah. But no, Andy, you're spot on. Actually, I saw when it came out of the cinema. I saw it 3 times. I saw it once in a normal cinema. I saw it once in an IMAX 3D, the biggest one in Europe, and again at a normal cinema in 2D. And I enjoyed it in 3D, but when I got a 3D TV and watched it at home, I actually preferred it then than even when I saw it in IMAX 3D. For some reason, I don't know if it's because of how I had my setup with the screen and the contrast and everything like that, but the colours seem to pop out more. I can see the textures more. And it is, if people want to see something impressive, and because a lot of people even now are very skeptical about 3D and everything like that, that's the kind of thing. Look at this light bite, the light cycle sequence from this film, and it's just a stunning few minutes of film. But yeah, I mean, you know, they're flawed. I appreciate that the Tron films are flawed in a lot of ways, but I think they were the first one's an important part of my childhood, and I just have a special connection with the second one. So I'd loved it to be a third, and let's you know, at least it'll keep 2 people happy.
Right.
You know,
I think they're only flawed if you happen to be like my wife, who looks at them and goes, "Well, that's not very realistic, is it?" It's like, oh, face palm.
Really? You could just say it is. Like when people have been sucked into a computer, this is exactly what it looks like. This is completely accurate.
Yeah. Exactly. So we got to wait for now is the John Carter sequel will all be made.
Do you know what? I absolutely loved John Carter. I've got the Blu-ray. I've got the Blu-ray. I've read the books. I've got the books. Or the books.
I like that movie too. I think it's good. It's a shame what happened to it, but I like it.
I liked every movie you made, and then I realised you weren't talking about John Carpenter.
I love John Carpenter too.
Have you seen his last few films? Disaster.
True.
Up through In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, after that it was a little
Up
bit.
through there, he's solid. But yeah, in the 90s, Village of the Damned,
Well, that's it. Once you've done a movie based on Lovecraft, it gets to you. That's Cthulhu for you.
Yep.
Well, I didn't expect to hear Cthulhu on this podcast.
It's amazing what you can fit in when you're still thinking about it. I'm not thinking about anything right now. I'm halfway down my second Old Peculiar.
Well, I'd feel really upset in the UK for us getting Cinderella 2 weeks after the US release. But of course, if we want to talk about Disney films, we are getting the Avengers 2 weeks early. So
Jerks.
yeah.
It's not fair.
Well, I don't think we're getting it 2 weeks early. We're getting it exactly on time. You're just getting it 2 weeks after us.
I would happily trade you Cinderella for Avengers 2.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Happily.
would, but no, you're right.
The Age of Ultron.
That will be the first one I've seen on the pictures. All the others I've seen in the house.
Oh, really?
I want to get Blue back here to do The Age of Ultron.
Hello.
Yeah, but I mean, but saying that, Andy, at the same time, we got Big Hero 6 in the UK cinemas.
2 years, wasn't it? Was it
2 weeks? Well, no, 2 weeks before you got the Blu-ray release.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, because they like to release films around half terms and stuff over here. So if the release in America is too far past a holiday, they wait for the next one. So yeah, quite often I certainly was. I went through a stage of importing 3D Disney Blu-rays from America before they came out to the cinema here. But now now they've stopped releasing 3D Blu-rays in America. I just have to wait for them to come out here and watch them at the cinema.
Stopped releasing 3D Blu-rays in America.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
Is it some sort of litigation thing against people feeling sick or something?
Only Disney.
Oh, okay.
Only Disney. So every other studio and even the Marvel films still come out in 3D.
Right.
But and there's never been an official announcement. But for whatever reason, you can only see 3D Disney films via, is it Vidu? It's an online platform anyway that we don't have, but it's a bit like Netflix for streaming.
All right.
You can stream 3D Disney films. So Frozen, and this is bizarre to me. So Frozen, bearing in mind it was like the biggest Disney film, grossing since Lion King, and a lot of the ticket sales were obviously in 3D. In America, never got a 3D home release. Everyone had to import the UK edition, which was region free, to watch the 3D version or stream it.
So you're quite big on getting 3D movies to watch, because I can't really get on with 3D. It gives me headaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you, especially at home, I think it works sometimes better at home, because quite often and this is the same with a lot of cinemas anyway, especially nowadays, not in the days when you used to have a projectionist, but now, cinemas are all digital, so they just, click a film to start and there it goes. Yeah. No one watches what happens with the quality. But certainly, at home when, you've got your TV set up and you've adjusted it all so it looks the best it can do and you adjust the colours and everything like that, 3D works really well. But I've been to cinemas and seen 3D films and I've not had the headache thing, but I have, it's been murky, it's not been very clear, it's been a bit blurry.
I'm just going to sit and wait patiently for them to release Glasses 3 holographic 3D.
Glasses 3D, glasses free 3D TVs are available.
Because I'm going to have to look into that, because really, it doesn't matter. I can record videos, I can drink beer and talk publicly on a podcast about Disney, but I still cannot bring myself to look a complete bellend with sunglasses indoors.
If you've got about £80,000, you can buy quite a nice set at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
can anyone lend me £79,995?
We'll do an Indiegogo campaign.
Yeah.
I'll get one set up so someone can pay for me to come visit America again, and we'll set one up so Paul can get a 3D glasses free TV. Everyone's a winner.
I want a telly as well. Can I have a telly?
Craig, you can set one up. Mr. Dolan, whatever you want to Indiegogo for, we'll set you one up as well. We'll see who gets most money.
Kickstarter.
But
I'll do anything for money, me. I've been to Amsterdam last weekend.
And Anfield this weekend.
Yeah.
Any they sound similar. That's why. Nothing against Anfield. But I honestly think what will be the big thing is the rumour at the moment, because they've converted the first 3, and that's episodes 1, 2, and 3, this way, is Star Wars. The rumour was Star Wars was supposed to be coming out in 3D on Blu-ray in time for the new Star Wars film to come out at Christmas.
I just want it on iTunes, just so I can watch it.
But then it will do. I honestly think if they're gonna re-release it again before Christmas, it will be. The other rumour as well is that they were certainly looking to see if they could release the original versions of Star Wars as well.
Yeah, there are just a few films. I quite often, when I'm working away, I'll stick movies on the perfectly clean, acceptable family movies, just for the record, before anyone gets the idea, on the iPad. And there is just some movies I cannot get on the UK iTunes store. Now, I think Star Wars you can't get on any iTunes store.
No.
That's correct.
Austin Powers Gold member isn't available on the UK store, but the other 2 are.
It's for the best.
Yeah. And Kevin and Perry Go Large.
What
Can't get. Isn't.
Good. Well, at least there's some sense there. Jesus. But because the thing is, I've seen.
I can still.
I remember my dad getting, when it first came out on home video, Star Wars, and seeing that, and I was like, sorry to ruin the illusion of my age, but I was about 5, and I never knew what Star Wars was. My dad brought home this video, and I watched it, and I was like, if he likes it, I'm probably not going to like it.
Is that on VHS?
VHS,
okay.
And I watched it religiously. That was my church. Sunday mornings, I would watch Star Wars. I wouldn't go visit the House of God. I would visit the House of Darth Vader instead. And I was obsessed with that film. And when I found out there was other films to come out as well, then I was like, amazed, because they, obviously back then VHSs come out very rarely. But I love I grew up watching the original versions, not the tinkered about, stepping on Jabba's tail and Greedo shooting first crap that we get nowadays. So I know Disney were looking to see if it was possible for them to release the original versions of the Star Wars films. Apparently the negatives are not very good, and that's going to scupper the Blu-ray a little bit. But I know they were certainly looking into if they could restore it and what they could do. So, hopefully before the end of the year, we'll get the original Star Wars trilogy. And if I'm very lucky, I'll get the 3D version as well.
Fair enough.
Oh, it's movie talk. I like this.
It is, yeah.
It's still all Disney. It counts.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's all owned by Disney now. That, certainly. And one other thing before I go, because again, this is something you might know more than I have, but I saw a rumour recently that they're looking into doing a sequel to Big Hero 6, which will be good, because I love Big Hero 6, but that it was going to be...
Have all the jokes been made about calling it Big Hero 7?
Well, I haven't seen the first 5, but I really enjoyed Big Hero 6.
You know they're coming.
Yeah. But, they're talking about doing a sequel, but it would also be like a team-up film with The Incredibles. Have you heard about this?
Ooh.
A mashup.
Yeah.
I have heard that they've started talking about doing a sequel to Big Hero 6, which I think would be awesome. I just watched Big Hero 6 again last night. It's so freaking good. But I don't see them crossing over with The Incredibles. That sounds like fan fiction more than it sounds like anything legit. I'd be shocked if that happened.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't think I'd personally like to see it. I love The Incredibles. I love Big Hero 6.
Yeah, leave them separate.
Exactly. I don't necessarily see the need to cross those things over. But
if you're going to cross anything, why not just cross like The Incredibles with the Avengers?
That's
a mashup to see.
The Incredibles and the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Or is that too close to the bone? Possibly.
I say let Elsa and Rapunzel join Big Hero 6. Elsa's got her ice powers. Rapunzel's got her super hair. And just that way we don't have Frozen 2. We've just got Big Hero 8, and we're good to go.
Oh, I like that.
That it's going to confuse people, though, because people will be asking what happens at Big Hero 7.
Yeah.
It's the madness of King George III all over again, and I don't think anyone needs to revisit that situation. Google it, kids.
Yeah, we're back. We're back to trying to watch Ocean's 1 again.
Where is it?
Must have just been called Oceans, though, surely.
Yeah.
It's not on Amazon. What's going on? Other ways of finding films are available. I'm like Austin Powers. I'm spent.
In that case, is it time for WrestleMania, Mick?
It must be.
Well, technically,
Is Hulk Hogan still in it?
It's 2 hours to WrestleMania, and Hogan is about. I don't think he'll be doing anything this year, but he did last year.
The Hulk, is Hulkamania still running wild?
It's still running. I don't know about he's 66 now. I don't think he's
What did he used to do?
wild.
He used to have a little thing, didn't he?
Well, other than tear his yellow vest.
Tear his vest and then hold his ear up. Did he shout something?
No,
just do that like that.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh, 80s
If you
wrestlers.
want to name 80s wrestlers, I can still tell you which ones are alive and which ones are dead if you want.
Is the Undertaker still knocking about?
Yes, he's got a match tonight. Yep.
Is it still the real Undertaker?
All right, then. I'm back to the last time I watched any WWF as it was at the time, whatever it happens to be now.
Yep.
Ravishing Rick Rude.
Ravishing Rick Rude, I believe, died around 1998.
Jake the Snake Roberts.
Jake the Snake is still with us, amazingly, because he was a crack addict.
Honky Tonk Man.
He was a crack addict.
He's still with us. He legitimately was a crack
How's Big Daddy getting on?
He's long gone. Shirley Crabtree's long gone.
Daddy now.
Granddaddy.
He's lost a lot of weight recently.
He cremated him.
Him and Medium Haystacks are
Hulk Hogan obviously still alive. We've had that one. Ric
Sergeant.
Flair, he's still alive.
Sergeant
British
Slaughter.
Bulldog, is he still knocking about?
You know what? I'm actually at the moment wearing a British Bulldog t-shirt, about to change into some Ultimate Warrior one.
Right.
Died in 2000.
Oh my god.
Sergeant Slaughter.
Sergeant Slaughter's still alive.
Is he the one who hit the Ultimate Warrior over the head? He looked like Saddam Hussein.
That's the one.
Oh, he was bossing.
Yep.
Who else?
He's still alive.
Who else
Mr. Perfect, he's dead.
Okay.
Bret the Hitman Hart.
Dusty.
Bret the Hitman Hart
Is
is
it
still alive.
Dusty Rhodes?
Dusty Rhodes is about 70 and he's just lost a ton of weight. He's still alive. This is a great game for a Disney podcast.
What was the ones they were a double act and they'd come out like beavers?
Come out like beavers.
Okay.
Yeah, like they were chewing wood and that.
Because all I can remember is the
one of them used to carry a lump of
Rockers.
wood.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan used to carry a bit of wood.
Yeah.
Might have been him then.
He used to shout out "ho," but he didn't mean it like a woman that you wouldn't like to hang around with necessarily.
Oh, it's Amsterdam flashbacks.
Still alive.
Excellent.
Wow.
Not wrestling much anymore, but still there.
Well, every now and again. That's the weird thing about these guys. They're still knocking around 16, 17. They're still going.
Yeah, modern automation has got the best of him, and he's now bandsaw Jim Duggan.
Is the little baldy fella with the muzzy still knocking about? Who used to hold the microphone.
You've turned too scouse for me, Craig. I've got no idea what you just said. Except microphone, I have got no idea what you just said.
Is the baldy fella with the moustache and the microphone still knocking about?
Jesus Christ, Craig, that's about 50 people, mate.
Yeah, that isn't narrowing it down much.
I mean, if you're looking at this podcast right now,
Bald fellow with a moustache.
Describe some of us.
Yeah.
He used to introduce everything on WWF. You had the muzzy.
Mean Gene Oakland. Yeah, he's about 89 years old now. He's in Jurassic World as well. He's one of the fossils.
Is he still mean?
You know what? I don't think he was ever mean. But he was definitely Gene. That was his name. Yeah. $1 Million Man, still alive. Macho Man Randy Savage.
Was that
dead.
Ted DiBiase?
Ted DiBiase. Also looked like, of course, Noel Edmonds.
What was our wrestling names be?
This is such a random conversation for the end of a Disney podcast.
If we all had wrestling names, what would they be?
Well, because I don't know if you know
the Jelly Deal, isn't it?
I'm actually a ring announcer as well for wrestling.
Yeah.
I made my return to in-ring action last week after 2.5 years out.
Yeah.
So I could do it, but I think the Jelly Deal is a good one because of my London connections. What would Craig be? The cheeky scouser.
Fat Scouser.
I think Paul, you would be Paul B.
If we, I would.
Bruce Boniface.
I've stood next to Craig and looked up at him. I would think if we're going to go back to a Game of Thrones reference, anything, he is the Hound.
Oh, I'd like that.
Craig the Hound Lucas.
Yeah, I definitely think Bruiser Boniface would suit you. And of course, I don't think we could
as long as you can spell Bruce Brews, I'd be happy with that.
And of course, Paul the Danger Dolan.
There is Danger Dolan, yeah.
Yeah.
The spawning grabber.
The silence assassin.
It's a very special move, that one.
And I don't know what we could call Andy.
As a new guest on the podcast that we might want to get back. Yeah.
The director
I'll
of
take
Death.
that.
There's a nice movie reference there. Blimey, can you believe we've been recording for almost an hour and not a single Jeremy Clarkson reference?
I wonder whether or not any Americans, we do have a few listen, would actually even understand that. I know it gets on the BBC World. We can always check. Andy, if we made a reference about Jeremy Clarkson, would you know who the heck we were talking about?
No.
Yeah, so
I would not.
And on that bombshell. By the way, my own views is he deserved to get sacked. Good riddance.
I found him humorous and funny, but that's because I have a sense of humour and can understand that everything he says can be taken ironically. But yes, you can't punch your assistant and then expect to keep your job. So yes.
Do you know who else says funny stuff?
What?
These four guys hosting a podcast and our guest.
Yeah.
We're funny people too, but we're not punching people.
No, we can do it without actually punching people. I'm going to walk indoors and ask where's my hot food now, though. I'll probably get.
But we are available for Top Gear if anybody wants to approach us.
Oh my God! Why have we not auditioned for that?
I don't know.
Oh.
This is it now.
You should.
This show.
I've got a section C1. That's why we've not auditioned for it.
In which case,
that's okay. We'll drive across India or something like that.
We're approaching the end. I normally play end music, but I think I should end on this one. So, shall we audition for Top Gear or not? I've pressed the wrong button.
Oh, no.
That's completely ruined it. Oh no, hang on a minute. Keep talking.
Keep talking. How are we supposed
to? What do you think of Cinderella?
I'd give
I was going to play the Doof Doos from the end of EastEnders, but they've died, so meh.
Yeah, the Doof Doos also dead.
Yeah, it is, so I'll just hit a different button and say, again, thank you very much for joining us, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
I hope it was enlightening.
It was.
It was something, certainly.
We all haven't got a stiffy after this one, have we? What a letdown, Andy.
Speak for yourself.
Is that an English phrase that translates into American as well, I wonder?
I think it might.
Which one?
Stiffy.
Stiffy? Oh, yeah. We know that.
Having seen American Pie, I believe it does.
Yeah, it translates.
Before we go, one more time, if you'd like to let people, because people will have heard this, thought you're much better than we are, let's go and listen to his podcast instead.
Because I'm more interested in movies than I am about three English guys talking about Disney.
Disney's always good to talk about.
Of course it is. One of these days we'll get back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's the Real Fans for Real Movies podcast, RF, the number 4 RM, and Holy Bat Cast. Both of those can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Podkicker, and you can just go to our website, www.rf4rm.com.
Did he just say Podkicker?
Yes.
Craig?
What?
Research. We need to know what Podkicker is, and we need to be on that as well then.
I know what tire kicker is.
I don't know if anyone uses it, but we put it on there anyway.
It's one. Yeah, why not? We're still on Bebo, so.
Yeah, that's not to be confused with that annoying Canadian twerp either.
Justin Bieber.
And then I saw his face, and I'm a believer. Carry on. Anyway.
Yes. Is that it? Is that us?
Yeah, nearly. Go on, I'll do this bit then. I'll see you all.
Growing older is mandatory.
In a
Growing
fortnight.
up is optional. Disafterdark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the
You see,
others.
the buttons work when I want them to.
So this is a little bit like Top Gear because it's a car crash. You see? The whole end was just a massive car crash.
So I thought you were going to play the Top Gear music. Was that the button you were looking for?
No, I've got me doof set up because Nick was going to like go. So I thought, well, let's do an EastEnders doof because it's a bit like, well, I don't know if anyone would know The Only Way is Essex if I played that, but
No, that's probably for the best. Andy probably doesn't even know what a doof is anyway, so.
12 seconds to go. Thank you, audience. You have been great. See you all in 2 weeks' time.
We're not on Podkicker. Do not search for us on Podkicker.
We will be
Craig,
soon then.
Get on it.
Yeah.
See you soon, guys.
Do.